Hello everyone, I am Jaideep Singh Chahal. This is probably the first vintage rebuild that is going to happen in the Tread Trails garage. With me is the very beautiful and probably the cleanest example of a wagon body 70 series in India. This is an all original paint KZJ78, also known as the first generation Prado. So these came out in the mid 90s, and some very special things about these are small size, very compact body, not as big as the full sized 80 series, but it still has the same lineage. These used to come with a solid axle front and all 4 coils. That paired with a 3-liter 1 kZTE engine, which later on came in a lot of other model variants. This is basically the grandfather of the modern day D4D 3-liter that we saw in the Fortuner and in the Hiluxes worldwide. So same engine, just the earlier generation. This came with the no intercooler model spec. Very reliable vehicle. All 4 coils, and I think there couldn't be a more robust setup than this vehicle out there. So if you can bring the camera this side, the body line is so simple. These abroad are also converted into the 70 series wagons with round headlamps. These can be identified with the rectangular headlamps in the front. So I would like to bring your notice to how big the wheel arches are, decent space for articulation, and very flat lines. It is as if the designer only had a pencil and a scale to prep the vehicle or to draw the vehicle out. So full size 7-seater SUV vehicle, very comfy. And the best part is that this vehicle has done very low mile, and it already had an OME suspension setup, but it was parked for such a long time that the suspension had sagged. There were spacers which had been installed to level it out. So now we are doing away with all of that, and we're going in for a full new set of Ironman comforted coil springs and Ironman nitro gas shock, and the steering damper, since this is a solid axle, so it also has a steering damper. Same suspension geometry as a modern day Rubicon, a Jimny, or of course the 80 series or the LC105. So it also has a steering damper, so we'll be changing out the steering damper as well. If you can bring the camera other side, I would really like to show you how nice the interior is. So my favorite bit about this vehicle is it screams out JDM. It has that velvet semi-woolen interior. There's not much usage of leather, and the nicest bit is all the lines on the dash are still intact. It has not been abused. The center console was made by the owner just for convenience. He's added an armrest in the middle. Back then it had a sunroof. This was like the most premium offering by Toyota at those times. This was the epitome of luxury. So a lot of features that were not that common back in the day in the early 90s, which were offered in this vehicle. So talking about luxury, I think in the SUV category, this vehicle had all the bells and whistles. On the side, there's a driver bolster support. So this was manually controlled with a knob. If you can see, the wings, they retract or they open up for comfort. And this little switch on the side, it was the electronic lumbar support. And the best part about Japanese tech is it was fitted 30 plus years back and it still works. So if you can focus the camera here, the lumbar support completely changes its shape, and this is for the lower back. So these cars were supposed to be the comfiest vehicles back in the day, and a big upgrade when other vehicles were using all 4 leaf springs. This came as an all 4 coil, smaller than the full sized 80 series, and came as a urban SUV that could be used, and you could use it to travel on the weekend for off-roading. Solid axle reliability, and paired with this kind of comfort, I think we don't have a vehicle like this made today. So definitely something companies need to learn from. So if you can bring the camera here, this has the boat shifter 4-speed automatic. The 4x4 is of course engaged by the lever. So this came with an all-time 4x4. So this was where the all-time 4x4 was sort of invented, I would say. So the shaft keeps spinning, but you have a hub lock switch. So the hub lock switch is on this side. You press that, it locks the hub. You're able to engage the 4x4. You have the 4x4 also from a switch. So that switch, you press the switch and your 4x4 engages. This lever here only has the high and low selection and the neutral as well. So the nicest feel in the vehicle is there is no additional leather. The wool and the velvet feel, I think these don't age at all. The vehicle still feels very fresh, and of course these had a habit of cracked dashes. I think this is where the cracked Prado dashboard lineage starts from. All the 120s you see will have a cracked dash. This also, but I think very decent for a 30 plus year old vehicle. So I have zero complaints. I'll quickly show you the back as well. So the speedometer cluster, I forgot to mention, is very basic. It reminds you of cars from the mid-90s, and what needs to be appreciated about the vehicle is that it has not been abused. It is still in very, very good hands and is being taken care of. A very special AC vent down there for really hot days. The second row again is fully intact. Very comfy seats. Nice big bench type seats are there, and I think even the flooring, if you can bring the camera here, the flooring is still intact. Really dark brown woolen carpets, very era correct, I would say. So around the back, I think nothing looks nicer in an SUV than barn doors. So this has very clean set of barn doors, huge boot, and the best part is it still has the original rear bottom tray. It still has the Land Cruiser branding on it. And if you can bring the camera here, I want you to see how clean the line and how roomy the vehicle feels. It feels like a huge Toyota Qualis. For those who've traveled in the Qualis, they will always appreciate one thing. Most of the glass area was vertical and very boxy. So it gives you a very roomy feel. It doesn't feel like a claustrophobic vehicle. Very solid tow hook in the back. I think this is all about the cosmetics for now. We'll cover the underbody once the vehicle is on the lift. So we'll show you what the actual specialty of the vehicle is. Ladder frame and all 4 coil. If you can bring the camera towards the front, I'll quickly show you the tried and tested super reliable engine. So this is the first iteration of the 1KZ TE. So the 1KZ TE later on came also in the 90 series of Prado and multiple other vehicles. But this 1KZ TE is the non-intercooled variant, the very first, the very basic 3-liter inline 4 from Toyota. Very reliable engine, a lot of mod potential. I think after we are done with the suspension, the next plan is to work on the pump. So this is like an in-between of a proper electronic vehicle or an electronic pump and a line pump or a rotary pump. So a lot of scope to work on this engine and extract some more power, because the tech that was used in this was, of course, 30 years plus old. After that, diesel tech has really evolved and there's a lot of scope to do some interesting stuff with this vehicle. And turbo diesels, the minute you say turbo diesel, the scope is unlimited. So we'll quickly share some more detail once the vehicle is on the lift. So I've got one of each. This is the entire suspension kit which is going on the vehicle. So this is the front coil spring, and this is going to be paired with the front shock. This is the Ironman nitro gas shock. This is the rear coil spring, real nice and heavy, and should be giving a 2-inch lift in the back as well. This is the rear damper, and the third on the table and the fifth otherwise. This is the foam cell series steering damper. So this is probably the best quality of steering damper that one can buy today. And similar working parts go in a Rubicon, in a Jimny, and of course in this and the 80 series. So the main dampers are all nitro gas, and the steering damper is offered in foam cell from Ironman. All of this comes as a single kit. So both the coils and the dampers are suited for a 2-inch lift. We'll share how the stance comes up. So we're done fitting the suspension. The trial run has been done. Now the vehicle will be driven for another 1,500 kilometers. We'll wait for both the springs to settle down, and then we'll decide on fixing the stance if required. So this is the final stance after the install. We've achieved the rake. The front is slightly low. The rear is still has a lot to settle, but it's at a nice ride height. It's running huge tires. The body, actually box body, makes big tires look small, but these are 285 70 17, roughly 33 inches, and it actually sort of dwarfs them. So that is one reason that the arch gap doesn't look that huge. So this is the final stance. The tires are sitting right in line, zero issues, and it feels far more confident. The vehicle had a very bad wavy feeling earlier, and it didn't feel confident above speeds of 45-50 kilometers an hour. We've taken it to 85-90, touched almost 100 on the highway, rough patch. Feels pretty solid, but I think the final verdict can only be given by the owner, because he's been really driving it a lot, and he'll be able to gauge how much the difference is. That's about it. I think that's another legend we've helped survive on the road. Thank you so much.